people waiting. What's going on, EW? Cat, Michael? Heck yeah, glad to see you guys. Boss lady, let's see, I'm just looking at the, man, you guys been using them up, haven't you? That's awesome. Okay, good deal, y'all. Hey, appreciate you guys being here already and hitting the like. I'm going to get started and make some racket. I'm going to make a little bear. We sold one of our little sitting bears, and so I got to make one to replace him. This one, the head's going to be up, and this one's actually going to be a little different because it'll be a welcome sign. But he's still, the plan is to put him on his butt, and then after I get this done, if we have time before Dellen's live, then I'm going to probably work on the wing detail on this parrot over here. But one thing at a time, I need to have plenty of these around because they seem to be doing all right. This one will be a little different. I'll cock it off that way just so you can kind of see a little bit of how it comes along from like a 45-degree angle. Let's see. Lori Keller, Daryl, the Troy Hunter, Royce, Timber Art Techniques, heck yeah. Cheech, a.k.a. Grumpy Laid Back Carvings, what's going on? Dad, Possum, Tony Newton, heck yeah. Glad to see you guys. All right, guys, I'm going to get on this thing. Shut up and work, Fatso. Shut up and work. switch to another saw. Hope you guys are doing pretty good. Let's see what you guys got to say, aka the Peanut Gallery. How's it going? Let's see, 1844 Creation does 777, best chainsaw carver in the world. Perry, the Carving Wizard, awesome members of the channel. Hey, Lori, Cadiz, I could mod you, but you need to be around a little longer. Plywood, what's going on, buddy? Heck yeah, Cheech, I appreciate the sales job on hitting that like button. Be sure and hit it. See it right there? Kapow. All right, the Electric Whittler, another awesome member of the channel. Might get the ditty before you get the mod around here. Yeah, you never know, that's for sure. Heck yeah, all right. So I got that kind of idea, and I don't know why I started out that big saw, but let me get a little one and dig this little guy out. Anyhow, I think I got a sign. Yeah. See if that baby fits in there. Nope, not yet. But anyhow, this one's gonna be on the ground looking up. You can kind of see him come to shape already ahead. At least I can. I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta give him a ditty. I don't know. It is what it is. Let's hit it again. I feel like I'm using Creation Dust chainsaw again. It is heavy compared to that one. Yeah, that's one thing I'll never forget. He come walking over with that saw at Michael's, you know, and handed it, and he took mine, and I pick that thing up. I'm like, Jiminy, this thing's like a 4-cylinder car engine. Thought it was like the Three Amigos when the guy, he has that little chrome pistol, you know, and that guy comes out there, the big Mexican, you want to die like a real man. Here is a real man guns. And he hands Dusty, or I don't remember his name, he hands him the gun, you know, and he's like, pulls it down the ground. It was so heavy. Yeah, it's kind of something like that. 770, it turned me into a sissy. This thing is a lot heavier. Let's see what we got. We got the E-Electric Whittler, Creation Dust 777, who is making an absolutely outstanding, awesome, first time ever doing it, Bigfoot carving. You guys got to check that out. He'll be working on it again Saturday and getting closer to completing. He's probably got a couple more lives to do before it's pretty well done. The thing is just awesome. Head's coming along pretty good. Hope you guys are doing pretty good. If you would, please smash the like button. See the like button back there, just over the bear head. We sure appreciate y'all watching. Heck yeah, awesome. Okay, I'm still taking this guy's arms out. I guess I gotta clean his head out here a little bit. Shake this. He's looking pretty good. triangle out of there. And so I want him to hold the sign. He's still going to be a sitting bear. His butt's going to be here, little cusp here, or his feet wraps around. And so I just need to take a triangle out of here for the sign, for his legs, kind of have some kind of differentiation. Or, you know what I'm saying? I know. Shut up and carve, buddy, and we'll know what you're doing. All right. Man, this is the one that always floods itself. Guys, this MS-180 knockoff. You read it there. It says non-still 832. You see that? NS. That's what it stands for. Non-still. Anyway, it is so much lighter than that 171, even with the 16-inch 50-gauge bar in it. It's crazy. Back to the little one now. The little heavy one. Like a rock. All right. He's looking all right. Just trying to dig the body out. And I got to dig that sign out, too. I want to do that and get that done. All right. Let's see what we got. 159 people and only 38 likes. Man. Hey, Hillbilly Javi. I like that name. That's pretty good. Hey, Small Woodlot. What do you know? Raja Bindigo Hana, my friend. Hello. Glad to see you. All right. Hey, Roy. Fred V. Small Woodlot. Heck yeah. LJ Woodworks. Hello, my man. What's going on? Okay. All right. Let me getting this done. Keep cranking away. This thing is heavy, though. I'm just telling you. That 170 turned me into a sissy. Let's see if that'll fit. Find out. Let's see. So, you guys tell me. It's kind of a personal choice. It doesn't quite fit. Let's work on that just a little bit first. And then we'll talk about what sign to use. Let's try that. Okay. So, this is welcome. I know you guys can't really see that. Let me turn this on. So that was a welcome sign. That's not too bad. I mean, I might have to trim the fingers down a little bit to make it work. And I kind of like that one. I don't know. Let me take these off. They're fogging up. And but I got another sign, and I just want an honest opinion from you guys before I keep going here. What do you think? The attitude of this bearer. How's he look? Does he look like a welcome bearer? And here's another option we have. And that one says, well, crap. What do you think? How about the well, crap versus welcome? It's kind of like welcome, except for, well, crap. It's you guys are here already, or you showed up. I wish you hadn't. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's how I feel like one of my current bosses right now. Or how about this one? This would be more accurate, actually. Let's see. Go away. How about that? Go away. So you got your choices. Trying to be Greg Davis, my buddy. What's going on, man? Matthew, my friend. What Runic? What's happening? Creation.777. Best chainsaw carver in the world. In case you guys did not know that, you need to check him out. Okay. Go away. Well, crap. Welcome. Which one do you guys like? Let's see it. Let's see what you got. Fred, I appreciate that, man. It's more about entertaining people to me. Hey, baby kisses, my friend. What's going on? Perry, what do you know? All right. So anyway, I got some choices there. And at the end of this video, if you could, put it in the comments. Let me know which sign should we go with. And I'm leaning toward the well crap today, because sometimes you're just like, well crap. What do I do now? And when in doubt, pull the Bible out. You know what I mean? Well, it's hard. That's hard, because our natural, tendency is to tell people, hey, pound it. How about that? But, you can't do that every time. Not every time. Sometimes. Not every time. this guy ought to have a shoulder. You know, right now he just goes right from head. His head is his shoulders. time. Hope you guys are doing good. Let's see. I want to see this again. I'm just really considering these things. A little more negativity today. I mean, everybody's allowed that every now and then, right? Go away, right? Yeah, we like that one. And I really digging this one. Although I think it's a little too big for this bear. Well, crap. You know, I might want to gouge it out. Maybe put some red, like bright red, like it looked like it was written in blood by the bear. Maybe, you know, like he's having a bad day. He's a really angry bear. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. All right, let me blow my nose real quick and keep going. And I won't make you guys watch that, I promise. You can listen. So I come to find out, and some of you guys might have heard this already, that all last week I had, well, toward the middle of last week, I had bronchitis, and I'm still, now that I'm getting antibiotic and stuff, I'm still dealing with it. So it kind of is what it is, but, you know, just a sissy. That's what happens when you get older. You turn into a sissy. And I'm such a sissy, man. I'm such a girly man. Look at it. Yeah. You know. So I'm trying to act macho. You guys wouldn't mind for a second? How's this for a face? Is this looking better? You guys think this is a considerable improvement upon the fat person you've been watching previously? Well, one thing I noticed is when I came up here and showed my visual self, my who I want to be and not who I am, someone was hitting the hearts, so it must have worked. Anyway. Oh, what a good time. All right, so let me keep snapping on this guy. What happens is when I start talking, people leave. So I better just shut up and work, right? Fuel in that baby. I can get by one more tank on this guy. Heck, he ain't that far from being done. But it's been a good wrestling match with that saw. I mean, because this one's definitely heavier than the 171 or even that knockoff. But this is what I've always used. I used this thing for years before I had a carbon bar or any of that kind of stuff. This was the saw. And that just means that this saw, I was going to go to a 2511 back handle. And I'm afraid to now because that might turn me into even more of a sissy. You know what I'm saying? I just won't be able to pick up my lunchbox. Well, I can always pick up my lunchbox. I'll do that with two hands if I have to. All right. You kidding me? I ain't got no lunchbox here. I chew on it. Okay. All right. Let's get this going again. Come on, baby. Wake up. Ready for some paw line, some bear hair, some stuff like that. Looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this little guy. Just a little bear looking up, you know, and let's do the nice version this time. Welcome. Hello. Glad to have you here. Okay, let's get one. Oh, man. Okay, so where's the bolt? I'm going to go ahead and put a relief cut in the back of this guy. That's wet round wood. tell you guys something. You know, squirrels are trying to take over the world, and it's really important for this bear. You may be wondering, well, he's a sign bearer. Why did the guy give him a sign or give him chest hair even though he's supposed to hold a sign? Well, the problem is the squirrels, because they're trying to take over the world. They come steal the sign and protest. They're jerks. Anyway, it is what it is. You got to give him some hair so he won't get cold. kind of like the spinning bear, you know what I mean? Hope everybody's having a good time. We don't want to stay on too long so that we screw Dylan up. So I'd say about 6:45. So we're going to spend about 20 more minutes on this guy. We'll do the eyes and stuff after we get him sanded out of there. But he's looking pretty cute. I want to give you guys kind of an upper view of him. But I'll go ahead and get the hair done first. Going to be easier for me to just keep on playing ring around the posy with this thing. If that makes any sense. It's easier from this side. Spin him back around. I want to dig him mirrors out just a little bit more. But I like him. I like it. He's looking up. You know, that's kind of cool. But that's not, I haven't had much practice of making them like that. So it is what it is, right? Sometimes they're going to be good, sometimes they're not. But he's got a big old muzzle on him, but he's super cute. So I'm happy. I'm going to do as new for me is I'm going to dig these eye holes back a little bit. And that's pretty new for me. I wish I could get that in the angle where you guys could see that really good, actually, but I can't. show you guys that because I think it looks real good. I don't know how that's going to come through on the phone, but it's really cool. When you step back in there, the eyes are grouped back in there. Now imagine a raccoon carving sitting back in there like that too. It looks super cute. Between that and his having this little brow here, you know, I mean, pretty cool. All right, hey, we did all right. We're up to 60 likes. If you haven't hit the like already, be sure it'd be nice to hit that for me. Let's see what we got. Say hi to some people real quick. Hey, John, Michael S., my buddy. Raja Bengandi Gohana, my buddy. Baby Kisses, awesome lady. Grumpy, a.k.a. Cheech. Perry, what do you know, guys? Heck yeah. All right, glad to see y'all in there, that's for sure. Okay, I got him haired out. I'm going to dig the ears out of this a little bit. It looks like it could probably use a little better. The shaping on here ain't too bad, but this one here, that could use thin down a little bit. I'm going to do that and just try to gouge them back a little bit more. Then two things. Pretty much it for chainsaw carving on this guy. I got to put the eyes in and nose holes, stuff like that. I'm gonna start with the nose holes and or round that out. I got to round that out with the sander first. Clean that up. Oh, I want to give him toes. I did want to give this guy toes. Let me do that real quick. But I'm liking him. I got to turn some light on down here. It's dark, isn't it? Da, 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 da. Pretty cloudy. Okay, where'd I put that? But pretty cute little guy. Little sign bearer. You know, you sell him, you ain't trying to be greedy, you get $100 out of it, you know? thinking I give the right side an extra toe. I probably did. Oh well. You'll have that. I'm done. I'm some dumb. Some dumb. I'm some dumb young guy. Heck yeah. Okay, so our next tool. Heck yeah. Make the lights flash. Let's see what we got here. Matthew, Michael S. Perry, the Carving Wizard. Let's see, Baby Kisses, Raja, what's going on? Heck yeah. All right, pretty good group. If you haven't hit the like already, please hit it. We're going to be on here about, I don't know, another 15 minutes or so at the most. Sure would be nice to get as many likes as we could. That way YouTube knows that you guys kind of, sort of like me. Not that much. I mean, you know, I was okay, not too bad. I mean, since no one else was on, you know, right? Josh, whoa. On to the next step. Raining out here a little bit. It's not that heavy. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not too good. Not too bad. Let's see. At least I didn't get it on my phone, right? Let's see what we got here. I'll tell you, baby kisses always there. That's for sure. Michael S. He's always there. Heck yeah. All right. 72 likes. Hey, we picked some more apps since I last looked. That's awesome. We take a few more tonight. Couldn't hurt. Wouldn't be too upset. Does anybody know if Dylan and Rusty are live in today? Because I never seen nothing saying they was. Did anybody notice? Because if they for some reason weren't, then I might get a little further with this guy. But you know, at the same time, if they are, I don't want to stick around and be holding people up from getting to that. Then people will be mad at me. Ah, you're selfish. Yeah. Let's see what you guys got to say. Does anybody know? Special. Mike, okay. Yes, that's 7. Okay, he is going to be on there, Perry. 10-4. Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure of, is that he was going to be on. So I'll go ahead and just work up to about 5 till. Or I get the eyes done on it too. It ain't that big a deal if I don't get it done. So pull that up a little closer. Stupid things in the way. Yeah. Alright, you thought I hadn't sent them to my food. That's that. I'm gonna draw the eyes in. Boy, it sure be cool if I could figure out a way to get that where you can actually see the eyes go in a little better, but I just don't see it. Really. We'll see. I just know he's cute. How about that? He's super cute. Hello, everybody. I'm a happy bear. I'm about to say welcome. So I'm just gonna cut these in with that bird. That's my plan. And I'm probably gonna take that one. Actually, I'm gonna take that off. I'm gonna do much better for me. At least I don't think so. What do y'all think of that rain? Does it sound good? They're a little oversized. Put that back in there. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have to cut a little bit. I've got a ridge there that I don't have over here. It's gonna make this side a little more difficult if I don't put that down flat. I'll probably get rid of that. Yeah. Yes, I can. How's that look? Ah, pretty good. I can't wait to show you. How about that? Man, leave that back in my face. That looks pretty good though. Hope if I can get that side to come out half of that side, I'll be pretty daggone happy. I'll tell you, it's gonna be hard to tell. Get that day in good early from on the camera perspective. Unless I burn it, and it's so wet, I don't think it'd do me any good to burn it. And I'll show you what I got. Let's see. There he is. And you can kind of see him. I mean, they're recessed back in there. I think that looks pretty good. Not too bad. Once he's burned, painted, and all that stuff, it's gonna be pretty good stuff. But that's kind of what it is for the time being. Not too bad, not too shabby. And what we got? I got about 7 more minutes. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna put a little burn on this guy and get some matte gas out. We'll put a little pre-burn burn on him. I don't know how much good it'll do. Here, say hi to that guy. He's in the bathtub getting clean. And we got a few more minutes. And so I might as well take advantage of it. What's that comment I was thinking? Be sure to hit the like if you hadn't already. It'd be awful awesome. And if not, that's fine too. But I'll like you more if you hit it. How about that? Is that fair? All right, I did a little burn on this guy. Maybe not. It'd be easier for me if I put this back in the cradle. Hold on a minute. See what we can get down here. But I hope you guys had fun watching this one. It's not too bad, not too good. But we've had success with these cute little bears. And actually, it wasn't even what I was intending to do today. And it just hit me that I better because we're selling these things. And I'm having some wonders about if I'm going to be able to keep up. And you know what they say, sometimes you bite off more than you can chew. And that might be the case. But I'll tell you what, that kind of situation ain't never scared me either. So it just kind of is what it is. I can't wait to get that kit. Kyle Hall put up for specifically because I asked about the torch he uses. He uses a turbo torch, and man, I'm tired of fighting these chintzy torches. And he put up his link to Amazon to get that so that I could get it. And I got one ordered yesterday. I could not wait to get that torch. That thing is nice. And you watch when he burns stuff. He burns wet stuff like this, and it's done. And I mean, he really gets to it pretty good. As far as he needs to go right then anyway. And this thing takes forever. Kind of in, kind of out. And all these cheaper $30, $40, $50 ones, they're really worth having. I mean, they're okay. Don't get me wrong, they're okay, but that thing there, I've watched. And I don't know what kind of one that Creation Dust uses, but it might be the turbo torch too, but I know it's pretty daggone good. All right. Yeah, about 3 minutes. Then I'm going to flip over and watch Dylan. And guys, I'll be back in. Creation Dust will be back on probably 2:30 Saturday. I will be back in here for sure Sunday morning between 8 and 9. I may even flex shaft carve tomorrow evening. I don't know. It'll be late, like 8, 9, 10, if I do, and no one else is already doing a live that's in the tribe. So that said, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and cut this loose. Appreciate you guys watching today. And don't forget that. Catch Creation Dust on Saturday. Catch us back again for sure Sunday morning and maybe even Sunday evening. Whoever gave me the $2, you're special. It might have been Perry or Baby Kisses. They like giving money away. They're pretty awesome. Guys, I appreciate that. And, it just kind of is what it is. I don't want to hold it up. It's 3 minutes till Dylan comes on. Everybody try to keep to a schedule. I think that's really good. It's good, working out good for everybody that's in the tribe that we've all ended up in. So, hey, y'all, come back when you can stay later, you smucks.